Hello, my name's Sarita and I'm speaking to you today from Soulhenge, and I'm here to help you understand the truth about who you are. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about today was how to achieve and embody a state of oneness, a state of unity consciousness within you on a practical level, and why it's important if we want to be able to access more and more now moments within the fifth dimension. So in order to understand this, it's important to know that the fifth dimension is a unity state of consciousness. So it's a higher level of reality in which we embody and understand and become one with everyone else. But in order to be able to attain that state of unity consciousness, we have to be aware that it is first achieved within us. We need to embody it in our physicality because we are taking our bodies with us. It's a higher level of consciousness, which is an overlay over the current third dimensional earth. And in order to access it, we've got to embody unity consciousness within us. We need to be able to hold within this container of our bodies the essence of unity. And the way we achieve that is we've got to be able to find balance and harmony in our lives. And what happens when you achieve a state of balance within you is that you come into this place where you can witness everything. So it's like you can see the all that is of your experience, but you choose as a sovereign being to be unaffected by the duality and the contrast and the drama of it all. So you can experience it in the knowledge that it's all part of you, and you don't get sucked down rabbit holes of separation from the self. So what I mean by this is we live in the third dimension, which is a dimension which is rooted in duality and in contrast. Up, down, left, right, black, white, light, dark, happy, sad, okay? We use contrasts to know ourselves better so that we can evolve, because evolution is about coming into self-awareness. But the thing with contrasts is, if you go down into one contrast, you are moving away from yourself as the expression of its opposite. Okay, so contrasts keep us in this perpetual state of separation, if you like. And there's a lot of contrasting things going on right now, even more than normal. So even more than the normal reality that we would be experiencing in our day-to-day lives, that we could measure how we were feeling. I feel sad, and I know sadness because I've experienced happiness, blah, blah, blah. What's happening now with this COVID is this great reveal where we are beginning to see the separation, the contrast, the duality, the suffering, and the trauma that has been playing out within the systems and conditioning that has been governing our reality, because we have given away our power to these systems. And so what's happening is that there's a massive revelation of all the duality and the suffering, the pain, the separation of the way we've been living our lives. And that revelation is a direct reflection of how the collective feels and how we all feel individually as expressions of source consciousness. So the great reveal is showing us that we have been very embedded in our conditioning and our beliefs in separation and suffering, duality and contrast. So we're now seeing what's actually been playing out on the great stage of this third dimensional reality that we chose to incarnate into. And of course, because everything is a reflection of how we think and feel, that is playing out within us also. So everybody is having to face their own fears and limitations and separation and trauma and suffering coming up within them. They're facing the duality that's existed within them on a physical, emotional, mental, and energetic level as well. And that's why so many people are kind of losing the plot. So many people don't really know what's going on. And so many people are seesawing between despair or happiness. And there seems to be this massive seesawing going on, and it's a very discombobulating experience. So this is what I see playing out. And in order to be able to have more moments in fifth dimensional unity consciousness, which is the heaven on earth timeline, which is here and available for us all to access, we need to resolve that duality or that imbalance within us first, because when we resolve things within us, they resolve in our external reality, because everything is a projection of how you think and feel, because we're living in a holographic reality. So it's a real challenge at the moment to find that balance and that equilibrium within, but it is possible. And what I'm noticing is, although there have been many, many spiritual lessons for me and everybody else, particularly in rapidity over the last 3 months, one of the lessons that I'm seeing, which is really coming to the fore for me right now, is finding this inner harmony within me, this balance, this unity consciousness within me. And I'm quite a energetic and busy person. And the inner work has been so intense that what I've really noticed, what's become clear for me, is that I have been swaying in this duality. So for example, I'll go off on a truth-seeking mission and I'll spend hours, on YouTube or Google researching something about a system that I didn't know. I wanted to know the truth of it. So I go down that rabbit hole, and then I find I'm getting a bit overwhelmed and a bit depressed, and it's a bit dark down there. Or then I'll spend ages, talking to other people, or I'll go far too much into working too hard, because obviously everybody wants to meditate at the moment and I'm running a new business. Or I can't cope with it all, so I ignore everything and I go off into nature. I've noticed at the beginning of this lockdown and the whole COVID thing that I was very much swinging in all of this duality. And what I've been doing over the weeks is learning how to bring myself back into equilibrium as an embodied expression. And what's happening as I'm doing this more and more is I'm much more easily able to dip into all of these areas in my life and know when I'm tipping over and it's time to bring myself back. And so what's happening to me is, obviously I've got tools at my disposal. So, I know I've got my meditation techniques that bring me back if I've come out of alignment and things like that. But I'm becoming more self-aware about when I'm tipping into contrast, is what I'm trying to say. And I think this is a great call to unity consciousness. I've spoken to other people who are running businesses, and they're saying to me, it's really interesting. I'm running my business, but I'm learning that it's okay to actually take time out. People are getting the lessons now about balance. And whatever tools you have available to you to bring yourself into balance, it's important to start using them now as an embodied experience. So if you are spending too much time on the computer, make sure you go for a walk in nature. If you are ignoring friends and family because it's all too complicated, just pull in a few conversation and contacts now and again. If you find that you're overeating on junk food because you're, stuffing your feelings down or something, give yourself some meals where you're eating fresh vegetables and water. Begin to find these embodied expressions of balance, because we are physical beings And we've chosen to have a manifested physical incarnation. And bringing balance into the body first is the way that we will begin to express unity consciousness within us. And as I do more of this sort of harmonious interweaving of balances within my life, what I'm noticing is I'm able to take in more information from many, many, many perspectives and remain the observer. And I can remain the observer because I'm finding this place of equilibrium right in the center of my being. So you imagine the contrast, and I've used this analogy before. Contrast or duality is like two ends of a stick. You've got one stick, here's black, here's white, here's wrong, here's right, here's up, here's down. And basically, instead of tipping like this, which is the old paradigm, the old human condition, finding this balance point in the middle, and the balance point is neutrality. And as you sit in neutrality, what happens is your perspective opens, because you're not seesawing and you're not tipping and you're not falling into rabbit holes and dark places or light places, and you're not losing yourself in one contrast or another. You're in this place of equilibrium in the middle. You can suddenly see so much more. It's like you have this poise where you can look all around you at what's actually happening. And it teaches you to become more and more the observer, more and more centered in your core, more unified within yourself, because you look at all the perspectives and you can accept them all in their place without being sucked into the drama of them. And this pushes you into a state of sovereignty, because the minute you're not tipping out of balance and you're in this state of oneness within yourself, you're sovereign. You're not being run by the old conditions of the third dimension, and you're not being sucked in by beliefs that aren't yours or habits that don't serve you. You're actually sitting and seeing it all and making choices from your sovereignty, a place of balance. And the more we do this, the more we're aligning our consciousness and our energy and our frequency with the fifth dimension, which is unity consciousness. Unity consciousness is about acceptance, about embracing all without judgment. It's about acknowledging that every perspective is valid and should be respected and witnessed. It's a real frequency of love. And when you can come into equilibrium and bring harmony into your body, you're loving yourself. You're becoming the expression of love within you. So, if I've been down a rabbit hole of truth speaking on my computer, or I've been working, 8 hours a day, and then I go, right, I'm now going to spend 8 hours a day in the garden listening to birdsong and sunbathing. That's loving myself. That's getting my own needs met. I'm not looking for external help or someone else to save me. I'm saving myself. I'm becoming my own Messiah. And that's unity consciousness. That's Christed consciousness within you. And as you begin to bring all the aspects of yourself into balance, because we all have so many different aspects of ourselves that are playing out. As we bring all of those into balance, we just become more and more whole. And this is what's needed at this time. That 3D fear control matrix system that is falling apart is, when you get sucked into it, very scary, very disempowering. It's rooted in limitation, separation. It's expecting something else beyond you to save you and fix things. And that is the old way. It's a broken system. It's a system that, frankly, doesn't really exist anymore. So if you're desperately holding on to that system, you're holding on to an illusion, and it's going to bring you more suffering and more trauma, because it's never ever going to bring you into wholeness. And the more of us as light workers who can sit within our own equilibrium and shine brightly from that place of self-love, you know, true unconditional love for the self, the more we can shine from that place of unity consciousness, from Christed consciousness, being our own saviors, our own messiahs, what we do is we change the collective consciousness of humanity, and we open the door and give access to more people to be able to tap into that as well. And we're removing our energy and our momentum from the 3D control false separation matrix. And as that loses its energy and momentum, as we all step out of it, it will just fall away, because everything is energy. Everything is energy. So the more of us that step into our embodied state of harmony and balance, the more we are aligning to fifth dimensional consciousness, and the more we up-level the consciousness of our entire collective. So first things first, you know, look after your body, look after your being, look after your own wellness first. It's the most important thing. And in fact, truthfully, your only job really is to come into that state of unity consciousness within you, that state of unconditional love. And then through that work, you affect change in the whole world. So hopefully that's been helpful, and I haven't rambled too much. And I am sending you all my love, and thank you as ever for the incredible work that you are all doing in this extraordinary and transformational time in our history upon our Mother Earth Gaia. Thank you for listening.